the team still played decent enough to be in the position to win. And that's all I ask. Can I come here on the channel after the game and legitimately talk to the viewers, talk to you, and say the Knicks at least put themselves in the best position to succeed, and these are the steps we can take to get better. And that's all this season is going to be about for me. Hey, what's going on? Quis here from Sports Vibes TV. In this video, I just want to give my thoughts on the Knicks' recent loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I know some of you guys might be thinking that I would come on and be upset about this loss, but honestly, I'm not really upset. I would have preferred if we won, of course, but when you look at how the team performed and you looked at how some of our young players actually played, I really can't be too upset. Julius Randle, let me pull up his stats. I think he had 28 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's doing his thing. I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad at him at all, but, you know, it's just not going to be enough to beat every single team night in and night out. He's going to need some help, and he received some help from Immanuel Quickley. Quickley went off, if I'm not mistaken. Quickley had, 23 points? He had, 5 or 6 rebounds. I think he had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Let me just double check the box score just to make sure I'm correct. And he had a very good game. He shot over 50% from the field, and he also shot, I think, 3 for 7 from 3. So he had a good game. I liked what I saw from Quickley. I liked what I saw from Randle. And I also liked what I saw from RJ. If I'm not mistaken, I think RJ also shot over 50%. And I think he was like 2 of 4 or 2 of 5 from 3. So if he can continue to build off of that, you know, we're going to see some of these games that we're losing. They're going to end up turning into wins. But this is what I want to see. I want to see some progression game in to game out. And it seems like a lot of these younger players were able to carry over that momentum from the loss to the Nets. Now, Mitchell Robinson, he was a young player that I said in my last video has been playing pretty well. But this game was not a great game for him. Andre Drummond pretty much had his way in the paint. I think Andre Drummond had a 30 and 20 game. He pretty much carried them to the victory. Him and Cedi Osman. Honestly, Osman was like a low-key assassin in this game because they were interviewing him during halftime. And I'm like, who in the world scored, you know, all these points in the first half? I didn't recognize that. I didn't remember this. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, yo, this homie looked like the dude from Fantastic Beasts. I'm like, wow, he let this guy go crazy on us. And then in the second half, I think he had like a stretcher. He scored like 10 straight points for the Knicks. So that's something we're also going to have to work on. He ended up killing us throughout the game. I think he had either 23 or 25. Let me just pull up the box score. But Mitchell Robinson, he's going to have to work on his one-on-one defense. He's great as a help defender. But when it comes to locking down some of the great centers in this game, he's going to have to work on it. If I'm not mistaken, he had like 3 steals and a block. But when it comes to the center spot, to me, the bright spot more so than Mitchell Robinson was Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel is a player I was giving a lot of flack to, you know, saying he wasn't great coming off the bench playing with the second unit. But in this game, he didn't score a lot, but he had 6 blocks. So he was giving us that interior presence, that interior defense that this team needed in this game. It just so happened it wasn't enough. So yeah, now I have the box score up. So Immanuel Quickley went 9 for 17 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, and he was perfect from the free throw line, something that we expect from Immanuel Quickley. He's been touted as a great free throw shooter, and I think he shot, over 90% in college. So it's nice to see him carry over that good free throw shooting and also shooting at a high clip. So he had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and he was plus 11 while he was on the floor in a game where we lost by 3. So Quickley was doing his thing. Tibbs finally giving him some minutes. He played 28 minutes. It's one of the first games in a while. I think this is probably the first game since that Hawks game where Quickley played more minutes than Peyton. Because, you know, Peyton didn't have a terrible game. He shot 4 of 7, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds. He had 3 turnovers. and he was minus 14 on the night. So I want Tibbs to start playing Quickley more at point guard, and not only that, he should be starting. Austin Rivers didn't have a great night, but I think we're going to have enough offense off the bench if we have Rivers and Burks when he comes back. And speaking of Burks still hasn't played due to a sprained ankle. Mitchell Robinson also sprained his ankle last night, and that could be a reason why, he didn't have the greatest night, I guess, but he sprained his ankle in like the third quarter. So I want to keep an eye on Mitchell Robinson, make sure he's able to play the next game, because Alec Burks sprained his ankle same way, finished the game same way, and then he's been in like a walking boot. They said he was in a walking boot as recent as 3 or 4 days ago. So hopefully we don't see the same issues with Mitchell Robinson, and he's able to return, in a timely manner, or he's not missing games, period, not even return in a timely manner. Reggie Bullock, he had a terrible turnover late in the game. And I'm like, why would you force that pass to Mitchell Robinson? Slow it down, let the team set up, and then run your offense, even though we really just out there freestyling anyway. But for him to make that turnover is ridiculous. It was like a minute left in the game. We were down either 4 or 5 points, and a bucket would have made it a 1-possession game. Why he turned the ball over is beyond me. But this is why I said I don't mind when it comes to wins and losses. I care about us being competitive, because you saw in this game, these are moments where you can learn from, you can teach. These are, moments where you can pull up the tape, you can show the team what they did wrong, and then they can come back and make adjustments and try to be better the next time they're in that scenario. If we're out there getting blown out, you aren't going to have as many learning opportunities. These guys are not going to learn how it is or understand what it feels like to be in some of those high pressure, high tension situations. So yes, I understand RJ Barrett had 2 costly turnovers in that fourth quarter. One was technically a kickball, which should have been called. And the other one, he kind of got set up. He really didn't see Drummond when he came over to pick his pockets. But at least these are moments RJ Barrett can learn from, because there was also a moment where in a clutch spot, he was able to get a nice dribble mid-range jump shot to go down. So you see some of the positives in those scenarios. Now we can see where we went wrong in those clutch moments, and then we can adjust, and we can use that as legit learning, as a legit learning moment. Because when we're getting blown out, it's really hard to look at the film and break down what we can do better, because the guys out there, they're really not giving it their all when you're getting punched by 20, 25 points. But if it's a close game, you're down by 2 possessions, you're going to see guys give it their all. And I like what I saw from Immanuel Quickley. I liked what I saw from RJ Barrett outside of the turnovers. I didn't even dive into RJ Barrett's stats. Let me give him a little shout out, because he played 33 minutes. Field goal, he shot 7 for 12, which is phenomenal, especially seeing that he's been in this shooting slump. And then he shot 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. That's great coming from RJ. 50%, you can't complain about that. And then he shot 100% from the free throw line, 4 for 4. He gave us 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. He had the 4 turnovers, which we were speaking about earlier. But, hopefully he'll be able to work through those moments. That one with, what's his name? The one with Drummond was a kickball, clearly. So that really should have been called by the refs. It was unfortunate that it wasn't. But, sometimes you get the breaks and sometimes you don't. But outside of that, I liked what RJ was doing. I liked what the team was doing for the most part. The team didn't have a terrible game. If you look at it, we shot 49% from the field, if you round up. We shot 36% from 3, and we shot 87.5%, so 88% from free throw. Not terrible numbers, We had 12 turnovers. You would like to see that number come down a little bit more. But, we had 12 turnovers. The Cavaliers had 15, so they still turned the ball over more than we did. Where you see a big bulk or the major separation in the stats is in the free throws. The Cavs shot 34 free throws. That's wild, compared to our 16. You know, that's what, almost 20 more free throws. And they only won by 3 points. So you can chalk that up to Andre Drummond being aggressive. He went 13 and 19 from the free throw line. He hit his free throws, and he was just a monster. He had 33 points, 23 rebounds, 7 of them were offensive, and he had 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He had 5 personal fouls, too. We should have tried to get him fouled out of there, honestly. But other than that, you really can't be mad at the Knicks' performance. It's unfortunate that we're now 3 games under 500, but the team still played decent enough to be in the position to win. And that's all I ask. Can I come here on the channel after the game and legitimately talk to the viewers, talk to you, and say the Knicks at least put themselves in the best position to succeed, and these are the steps we can take to get better. And that's all this season is going to be about for me. You know, I understand a lot of you guys want us to win as many games as possible and get into the playoffs. And I would like that as well. But I look at this roster and I say, we don't know what we have with a lot of these players. So how can I sit here and come up with this figure or this number that we're supposed to hit in order to get into the playoffs if I really don't know what Tibbs can get out of these guys? So I'm going to continue to watch. I'm going to hope that this team continues to get better. And I'm also going to hope that Tibbs starts Immanuel Quickley. Quickley has shown that he has the ability to run the one, at least in comparison to some of the other options we have on the team. Am I going to sit here and say he's going to be our starting point guard for the rest of his career? I honestly don't know. From the film, it shows that he can handle some spot duty at the one. I'm not sure if he can handle it 30, 35 minutes a night, but I want to see. I want Tibbs to put him in that position so we can actually see. And if he's half decent at it 30, 35 minutes a night, then that's going to be a big upgrade from what we have with Payton. And not only that, if we find out that he isn't necessarily the best at the one, but he can work at the one in spurts, then we know we should at least start seeing what we can get from him off ball as well. So just in case next year we bring in a legit floor general, we already know what Quickley can do, and we're not spending another season trying to experiment with him now off ball to see what he can actually do. So let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked this video so far, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, I would just ask you to consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing the video. So once again, I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.
Uh-huh.